And hello again. In this video, we are going to cover one basic concept in Word 2010 that some people have trouble figuring out and trying to figure out how to do it and things like that. So I want to make sure I cover just this one concept in this video. It should be short and sweet, so just kind of sit back and relax and watch and take notes if need be. As in the last video, I have copied and pasted a article from the internet. Actually, it's ESPN.com. Give them a little cred where it's due. What we're going to be talking about here is indents. And there's two different kinds of indents, really. There's the regular traditional indent where you hit your tab key or you set a first line indent, which we'll get into in a couple minutes here. And that causes the first line to go over normally to 0.5. So it goes from the start here to here, which is 0.5 or a half inch. I'm going to hit my backspace key there. All right, that is just tabbing it over. Every time you hit tab, it will go over a half inch, unless, of course, it has been set otherwise. And we'll get into setting tabs in the next chapter. We're not going to do that here. There is another way of doing it, though, which is pretty easy if you are doing a extensive research paper or something like that. You guys will probably want to use this in the future for the papers you write here at Wilmington or when you go off to college. You can set these settings before you start the paper. Obviously, I've already copied and pasted so you guys can see what happens as I make these changes. Okay. And the quickest way to make these changes for indents is up on your vertical ruler bar. So it would be up here, this vertical ruler bar up here. And when you're up here, you will see these two triangles kind of pointing to each other and then a little box under the bottom one. Okay. The first one, the top triangle pointing down, is what's called your first line indent. Now I've gone ahead and selected the 4 paragraphs. Now if I move, I point to, and you need to put your arrow exactly on that arrow, click and hold and drag. I'm going to drag that to the traditional 0.5 indent, first line indent, and let it go. You will see the first line of every paragraph has been moved or indented. That happens, the computer realizes or reads when you have hit enter. If I turn on the formatting marks, you can see I hit enter, so this is a new paragraph. I hit enter here, so it's a new paragraph. So anytime you hit enter, it is automatically going to give me that first line indent. Okay, that is, again, this little mark. It is called the first line indent marker, and that's what happens there. Okay, and now the next one is used primarily in bibliographies and works cited pages. Okay, it is used sometimes in paragraphs, but not all that often. It is usually, as I said, used in bibliographies and works cited. You will use this on your works cited page in this MLA style of research reports. Okay, and that is the hanging indent marker. That is the bottom triangle, okay, that points up. Again, you need to put your arrow on that bottom triangle, point to it, click and hold, and what this does is it creates an indent so the first line hangs over the rest of the paragraph. As I slide this over, you can see how that affects it, okay? So every paragraph is now under that first line, and because this is hanging, kind of hanging over the rest of the paragraph, that is why it's called a hanging indent. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. But again, for some reason, some people do have issues with it and trying to figure out how it works. Okay, and again, you guys will need to know this for MLA style research papers. As the works cited page, you will find out, does use this type of paragraphs or paragraph spacing, setting, whatever you want to call it. All right, so again, we just went over the first line indent, and let me do an undo here. Okay, we went over the first line indent, which is right here, which occurs every time you hit enter. So once that's set, every time you hit enter, it'll automatically go wherever that first line indent is set. And you can set it anywhere. It doesn't have to be a half inch, though for research papers that is the requirement. But if you are doing something for yourself, you can do first line all the way to 2 inches and make it look really weird. But that, again, that is up to you. But when you are doing research papers and most traditional writing, the first line is indented a ½ inch. Okay, now we'll put that back. And again, the hanging indent is that bottom triangle. You point to it and you drag. And with the first line indent, you can set that pretty much anywhere you want to go. Make things look really goofy like that. Okay, that is up to you. However, as I said, in research paper writing for MLA style and in traditional writing, usually indents are 0.5 or ½ inch. And that's the quick video on indents. Again, you have a hanging indent and a traditional indent. The other option, the other button here on the vertical ruler bar is that little square, and that is just your overall left indent. It's kind of like a margin type deal. So in other words, wherever that goes, your line's going to go. So no worries there. We're not going to deal with that left indent square right there. All you have to worry about is the two triangles. The top triangle being a first line and the bottom triangle being a hanging indent. Remember the hanging indent. Again, you will use it on the works cited page. Many people in the past have lost major points in their projects and on tests because they do not remember to do a hanging indent. That's about it for indents, and we'll be back soon. Thanks a lot.